Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's presentation. I'm excited to have you here. Today, we'll be exploring Mega Goal 2.1, which is part of Unit 2. The focus is on crime doesn't pay, and we'll be diving into some interesting reading about this important topic. Over the course of this presentation, we'll look at key ideas and learn why crime is not the answer. So, let's get started and see what we can discover together. Today, we're focusing on some key skills that will help us become better readers and thinkers. First, we need to practice reading for specific information, which means paying close attention to details that answer particular questions or fit certain criteria. Next, it's important to find out the meaning of new words we encounter in the text. This helps us expand our vocabulary and understand the material more deeply. We'll also work on answering true or false questions accurately, which tests our comprehension and attention to the details we've read. And finally, we'll discuss what makes a good detective, what characteristics they should have, like keen observation, logical thinking, and persistence. By mastering these skills, we're not just improving our reading ability, but also sharpening our reasoning and problem-solving skills, which are essential for any detective work or critical thinking in general. Hello, everyone. On this slide, I want to share a bit about myself. My TV show aired on Spacetoon, which is a popular channel for animated series. I am actually an anime character, which means I am a fictional creation from Japan. That's right, I'm not a real person, but I am a character brought to life through animation. Despite being fictional, I've become quite famous, especially in stories related to crime and police cases. So, can you guess who I am? Think about the connection between being an anime character from Japan and my involvement in crime and police stories. This helps us understand how fictional characters can play roles in important themes like justice and crime solving. Keep these points in mind as we continue exploring the fascinating world of animation and storytelling. The Detective Conan series is a fascinating example of how mystery and deduction can be brought to life through storytelling. It features a young detective who uses his sharp intellect to solve complex cases, often under challenging circumstances. What makes Conan stand out is his ability to analyze clues and connect the dots in a way that keeps audiences engaged and guessing. This series not only entertains, but also highlights the importance of keen observation and logical thinking. Throughout this presentation, we'll explore how Detective Conan exemplifies these critical skills and why it remains a beloved part of detective fiction. All right, on this slide we see 3 pictures, and I want to point out what each one shows. First, there's a puzzle, then some jewels, and finally a bowling ball and pins. The question here is, what does each picture show? As you can see, there are 3 images in total. This ties into our theme of solving mysteries and understanding clues. The title at the top is Crime Puzzles, which suggests that these images might be connected to different types of puzzles or clues that could be part of a larger investigation. So, when we think about these pictures, we're really exploring how different objects or scenes can be clues in solving a mystery. Remember, in our overall theme, identifying and understanding these clues is key to cracking the case. Now let's look at slide 6. Here, we're comparing 2 different stories. The first one is the case of the stolen jewels, and as you might guess, it's about a theft involving valuable gems. This story helps us understand how clues and evidence come together to solve a mystery. The second story is the case of the bowling alley murder, which, as the name suggests, involves a murder at a bowling alley. This story gives us insight into more complex investigative techniques, especially how different pieces of evidence can point to a suspect or a conclusion. So the key point here is that we have 2 distinct stories, each illustrating different types of cases, one a theft, the other a murder. And how many stories are there in total? That's right, 2 stories. Understanding these stories helps us see how different scenarios require different investigative approaches, but also share common principles. This is a crucial part of our overall theme, which is about uncovering the truth through careful analysis of clues and evidence. Read along as you listen. Today, I want to walk you through case number 1. This is a practical example that really highlights some of the key concepts we've been discussing. As we go through it, pay attention to how the details connect to the bigger picture. Notice the specific challenges faced in this case and the strategies used to address them. It's a great way to see theory in action and understand how these principles work in real-world situations. So, let's dive into the details and see what we can learn from this example. Let's start with the owner, Mr. Jones. He was the person responsible for the store at the time of the burglary. Now, regarding the first subsect of the burglary, yes, it was identified early on that the initial break-in involved breaking into the jewelry section. This was a key point because it helped narrow down the suspects and understand the method used. Speaking of the jewelry, one crucial question was whether it was insured. And yes, the jewelry was insured, which could have implications for the insurance claims and the investigation's direction. Now, Mr. Jones had recently removed an old alarm system from the store. This decision is significant because it might have created a vulnerability, possibly even making the break-in easier or less detectable. That leads us to an important question. Why didn't the alarm go off? Well, since the alarm system had been removed or possibly disabled, it didn't trigger during the burglary. This highlights how crucial security systems are and how their absence or malfunction can impact thefts. Moving on, who is the owner of the store? That's Mr. Jones, as we've established. And finally, the detective assigned to this case is Detective Kalmes. His role is vital because his investigative approach will help piece together how the burglary happened and who was responsible. And to answer the last question, what is the detective's name? It's Detective Kalmes. Understanding these key figures and details helps us see the bigger picture, how the investigation is progressing and what factors might influence its outcome. Let's take a closer look at some of the key details left behind at the scene. First, what did Detective Kalmes leave in the bowling alley? It was his cell phone. This small item could hold crucial information, such as calls or messages that might connect him to the case or reveal other important details. Next, we have Mike Janner and Bob Reynolds. These two individuals were running for the councilman position. Their involvement or potential motives might be worth exploring as the investigation unfolds. Then there's the janitor. Interestingly, he was the one who found the stabbed man. His discovery is a vital piece of the puzzle, as it helps establish the timeline and location of the crime. All of these details, Kalmes' cell phone, the candidates, and the janitor's role, are interconnected pieces that help us understand what happened and who might be involved. They also tie into the larger theme of uncovering the truth through small but significant clues. Let's take a closer look at this slide. Here, we're emphasizing key points that are crucial to understanding the overall message. I want to highlight how these concepts tie into the bigger picture we've been discussing. As we go through, think about how each element connects and supports our main theme. The goal is to see how these details reinforce the bigger story we're telling today. Remember, focusing on these key points helps us grasp the core ideas and their practical implications. So, keep these connections in mind as we move forward in the presentation. Let's take a closer look at this slide, which features a series of F's and a T now. At first glance, it might seem simple or even cryptic, but there's a lot we can unpack here. The F's and the T are actually representing key concepts or decisions within a larger framework. The multiple F's highlight certain factors or options that are false or not applicable in a given context. Then we see the T, which stands for true or a positive affirmation, something that is valid or confirmed in this scenario. The final F reminds us that not everything is always as it appears, and there are nuances to consider. The main takeaway here is that in our decision-making process, we need to carefully evaluate each factor, recognizing which ones are true, which are false, and how they influence our overall strategy. This slide underscores the importance of critical thinking and thorough assessment, especially when we're trying to make informed choices that align with our goals. So, as we move forward, keep in mind that not everything fits perfectly into a yes or no category. Sometimes, understanding the subtleties can make all the difference. Jewelry refers to decorative objects worn on your clothes or body. These items are often made from valuable metals like gold and silver, which give them a timeless and luxurious appeal. Additionally, jewelry frequently features precious stones, adding color and brilliance to the pieces. Throughout history, jewelry has served not only as adornment, but also as a symbol of status, identity, and even cultural significance. As we explore different forms of cultural expression, jewelry stands out as a powerful way to showcase craftsmanship and personal style. It truly encapsulates how humans have used beauty and material wealth to communicate and celebrate important moments. When we talk about a formal arrangement to meet someone at a specific time and place, we use the word appointment. An appointment is essentially a scheduled meeting that both parties agree upon in advance. It's important because it helps us organize our time and ensures that we can devote attention to that particular meeting or discussion. Whether it's a business meeting, a medical visit, or a job interview, making an appointment is often the first step to setting up a professional or personal engagement. Highlighting this concept reminds us how crucial planning and punctuality are in maintaining good relationships and managing our responsibilities effectively. So, in the context of our overall presentation, understanding what an appointment is helps us grasp how we communicate and coordinate with others in formal settings. Let's take a closer look at what a scene actually is. Essentially, a scene is a specific place where an event or action happens. Think of it as the backdrop for important moments, whether in storytelling, film, or even in our daily lives. The key idea here is that a scene isn't just about the physical location, it's also about the context and the atmosphere that surround the action. When we talk about scenes, we're focusing on how the setting influences what happens and how characters or people behave. This concept is important because understanding the setting helps us better grasp the story or situation as a whole. Throughout this presentation, we've seen how scenes serve as the building blocks for more complex narratives and actions, making them essential to understanding any event or story. All right, let's take a look at this slide. Here, we're talking about a path with a hard surface on one or both sides of a road that people walk on, which we commonly call a sidewalk. Sidewalks are such a vital part of urban design because they provide a safe space for pedestrians, separating them from vehicle traffic. Notice that the key point here is the hard surface. This makes walking safer and more comfortable, especially in bad weather. When we think about the overall theme of making cities more walkable and accessible, sidewalks play a central role. They encourage walking as a mode of transportation, promote health, and improve the overall quality of urban life. So, in essence, sidewalks are more than just concrete strips. They're essential infrastructure that supports safe, active, and connected communities. If a light or a machine goes off, it stops working. When we say go off, we mean that it stops functioning or operating. For example, if a light goes off, it means it's no longer shining. Similarly, if a machine goes off, it's no longer running or doing its job. This phrase is useful because it describes situations where something ceases to work unexpectedly or intentionally. Understanding this helps us communicate clearly about equipment or devices that are no longer active. It's a simple way to say that something has stopped, which is very common in everyday conversations and technical contexts alike. Now, to move your head down and then up, we use the word nod. This simple action is actually a fundamental part of nonverbal communication. When you nod, it typically signals agreement, understanding, or acknowledgement. It's a universal gesture that helps reinforce the message you're trying to convey. Throughout this presentation, we've been exploring how body language can enhance or even substitute for spoken words. So, mastering gestures like the nod is essential because it helps you connect more effectively with your audience, making your communication more engaging and authentic. Remember, small gestures can have a big impact, and the nod is a perfect example of that. All right, so here we're talking about insurance. Essentially, it's an agreement where you pay a company money, usually called a premium, and in return, they help cover your costs if something unexpected happens, like an accident or injury. The key idea is that insurance provides financial protection and peace of mind, so you're not facing large expenses alone. It's a crucial part of managing risk, especially when it comes to health, property, or even business. Remember, the most important concept here is that insurance helps transfer some of the financial burden from you to the insurance company. This fits into our overall theme of understanding how to protect ourselves and our assets effectively. Today, I want to talk about what a clue really is. Essentially, a clue is a sign or some kind of information that helps us find the answer to a problem, a question, or even a mystery. Think of it as a piece of the puzzle that guides us in the right direction. When you're trying to solve something complex, clues are what lead you closer to the solution. They can be subtle or obvious, but the key is that they point us toward understanding or uncovering the truth. In the context of our overall theme, clues are vital because they help us connect the dots and make sense of the bigger picture. Recognizing clues and knowing how to interpret them is a crucial skill in problem solving and investigation. Let's take a look at the next part of our learning journey with the workbook exercise. This is labeled as Exercise I, which you can find on page 231. This exercise is designed to reinforce what we've covered so far and help you apply the concepts in a practical way. I encourage you to approach it thoughtfully, taking your time to work through the questions or tasks. Remember, doing this homework is essential for solidifying your understanding and making the knowledge stick. So, once you've completed this exercise, you'll be better prepared to move forward in the course and see how these ideas connect to the bigger picture of what we're learning. From the Holy Quran. Let's take a moment to reflect on the profound guidance this sacred text offers us. It emphasizes the importance of faith, compassion, and justice in our daily lives. The Quran reminds us that true strength comes from patience and perseverance. It encourages us to seek knowledge and understanding, fostering a sense of humility and respect. Most importantly, it teaches us to act with kindness and integrity in all our interactions. These principles are central to the overall message of our presentation, showing how spiritual teachings can inspire practical, positive change. By embracing these lessons, we can build a more compassionate and just society. Thanks. I really appreciate you taking the time to be here today. I hope you found the information useful and engaging. Remember, the key points we've discussed tie back to the overall theme of growth and continuous improvement. It's all about applying these insights to achieve better results and make a positive impact. If you have any questions or want to explore further, please don't hesitate to reach out. Thanks again for your attention and participation.